My next guest I had the privilege to sit down with is an inspirational figure in the Asian American community. Since the beginning of his transition, he has been an open book on the internet about his trans journey. We touched on so much within this episode. We talked about his family dynamics and how it was dysfunctional and isolating. We discussed access to healthcare in the state of Florida versus the state of California. We also discussed learning about trans history for the first time. This episode really encapsulates how gender is really a journey. I know you're going to enjoy this episode.
Dem Bois, Dem Bois, amplifying trans men and color voices, yeah, we here making noise, making noise, Visibility equals possibility, you know we them boys.
Welcome to Dem Bois Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Aaron, he, him, his. My next guest is an Asian American trans man who has been on HRT for over 10 years. He is an inspirational figure in the Asian American trans community for his outspoken experiences about living authentically and taking calculated risk and finding his own path to happiness from his personal life to his career. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself for folks so people know who you are, name and pronouns?
Yes, my name is Wen Neal. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm mostly known from making vines back in the day, but right now I run my own shop where I sell my art and I travel around the country doing that for a living.
Nice. How fulfilling is that to be able to be in control of your life and selling your art around the country?
It's incredibly fulfilling. There's definitely I'm only one person behind all the operations of it, but every time I get a bit frustrated or exhausted, I think, would I still like working under someone else? Probably not. I'd much rather do this.
Right, exactly. You're your own boss. You can say, I'm going to take a break, or I'm just not going to do nothing at all. I'm going to take a nap or whatever, right? It's not somebody on your back like, oh, you got 30 minutes left on your break, or you got to do this. Where's this input? Where's this output, right? So that's beautiful to be in control of just your life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I love to ask folks, so the name Wen, how did that name choose you?
It's actually a name my mom gave to me. It's a small part of the overall Chinese name that she gave me, which was An Chi Wen. Truthfully, I do not know the full meaning of that name, to be quite honest, but I just really liked Wen, and I thought that was I really love short names. I loved how androgynous it was too. So when I was first questioning my identity and really just feeling more gravitating towards the mask identity, I thought Wen was a perfect name for that.
I love that. So is there a reason why you don't know the meaning of it, or you never asked?
It's a peculiar name, the full Mandarin name of it. It's just more that I just haven't remembered it, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I should be much better. My pinyin is awesome, but most of my remembering of Chinese characters is still struggling a little bit.
Okay, you say your opinion of it?
Oh, pinyin.
Oh, pinyin. Okay.
Pronunciations, yeah.
Got you. Okay, sorry about that. I was like, your opinion on what your name is? I was I was ready for a story. I'm like, ooh, let's make it up. Tell me, what does your name mean? Oh, that's funny though. If you could think of a meaning for your name, what would it be? Your parents came up with this name, and what's the origins of it?
I'm trying to remember from the original, but also if I was just to say my opinion, I would hope it would mean charming, a little bit awkward, but mostly just, I don't know, wholesome.
Nice. Okay, that's it. Let's just say that's
good
what
intentions.
It means. Yeah, there you go. I love that. But, being able to choose our name is just giving us the opportunity to grow into how we feel more comfortable with being called, what our names should be, or what we want people to call us, right? Or refer to us by. Some folks take derivatives of their birth names. I took a derivative. Sean is a derivative of my birth name, my birth middle name, right? And it's I don't want to complicate things, right? This what feels like me. Let's just cut that other part off, right? So just to be in charge of who we are is very, very important.
Definitely. And I still wanted to have Wen just because my mom chose it for me too. So there was meaning behind that as well. And I mostly grew up in Florida suburbs, Central Florida. So there really wasn't a lot of Asian people, especially in my high school. I think if I was to count them all, probably less than 6 people. But it's still so. I just really like to have a name that still carried like a Chinese meaning, just from what my mom gave me to kind of keep my identity like that.
Yeah. So you said grew up in Florida, but are you in Florida now?
No, I am in California.
Oh, yes.
I'm on the West Coast now in Long Beach, California.
Yes.
And I love it.
Right. And is it sunny right there, right in Long Beach?
Actually, yeah, it's been sunny. It's been really beautiful. I live close to the beach, so that natural breeze comes through. It's really awesome. I can't complain about it.
Nice. So we actually are kind of neighbors. I'm up north more. For folks that don't know geographically, we actually about not 3 hours, excuse me. We about a 6 or 7 hour drive away from each other. So folks think the LA Bay Area is so close, but it's really not. So if you're in the Bay Area, don't say, hey, pull up on me, Wen. No, Wen is in Long Beach and it's going to take all day to get there. So no. So just a quick geography, but we are neighbors. So I want to ask you, when you were growing up, when was it that you kind of had a sense of who you were?
So in definitely my case, there were signs when I was a kid that my dad actually would confront me about later on when I would come out. But I mean, I've always been attracted to, well, I would love to dress up as Batman on Halloween and stuff. I have no idea what the, meaning was, but I mean, I don't know. I was just like 6 years old at the time. I thought Batman was really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I just was always gravitate towards very, not saying this is like inherently masculine, but just like very like hands-on sports. Like I would do fishing. I would love to catch little lizards and just, I don't know, just be out and about in nature and just always be outside. And I always had like a tomboyish aspect to myself too. I never really cared about really feminine clothing. I always liked wearing shorts. And yeah, really like, there was interesting enough in middle school, there was this like trend thing that everyone wanted to do where all the girls would try to dress up as middle school boys. So they would just, go to the local Hot Topic or something like that and just buy whatever vaguely distinct thing that would make them look more androgynous. And I just remember being so excited about that and like getting way too involved in like wanting to pick my outfit and like how I would want to look as a guy. That it started, I feel like that was the real spark that really made me kind of go into a bit of like a rabbit hole on transitioning. But interesting enough, with Florida, there's no education about trans people. They're not telling you that really trans people exist. There's no showcase of it in history books. So it's like I just couldn't find the word to the feeling that I was feeling at that time. I don't know if you ever heard of the website. It's like a blogging website, Tumblr. By any chance? Yeah. Tumblr was the gateway for sure in me having like access to see other living trans people living their lives, specifically Canadian trans people, because we're just neighbors, right? Like continent wise, we're neighbors, but their trans health, like specifically of how people know of being trans, is I feel like a more healthy way and more normalized almost. Like if you would be able to, before like, becoming an adult, so 18 years old, you'd be able to have a guardian sign off to put you on puberty blockers if you wanted to, or even start like, early transition, that type of stuff. I never heard of that. I didn't know you could do that because the United States will not let you do that. Or maybe, I don't know if they do in some states or not, but it was interesting to see like Canada be much more accepting, especially for people who want to do hormones at such an early age.
So when you saw that on Tumblr, so I know about Tumblr, but I actually didn't partake in Tumblr, but I know about it. But I want to say, when you saw that, did you, you obviously when you were younger, you have questions. So did you go and ask like maybe like your parents about it? Like, hey, what is this? Or did you have a friend that you can ask? How did that go?
Yeah. So in terms of people actually who I was surrounded with like closely physically, I did not tell anyone about it. My parents, I definitely could not have a conversation about it just because we've always had issues with just talking about emotions in general, or even problems. Problems are never really addressed, kind of just ignore it and just move on type of thing. So that definitely was not a conversation I could have with my parents. But I was very online. So a lot of my safety I felt online, and just talking. I was talking to a lot of people. Like with Tumblr, there's so much different communities within it, and I was just specifically in that community section of just trans mask people, who just really like anime, video games, all that kind of like intersections and stuff. So those were the only people I could talk to about how I was feeling, or like how I was coming to realizing that I might be trans. It was the first time I ever came across the word trans was through that community. That's when I finally found a word that I could look up and actually find dictionary definition of what it is. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this is definitely me for sure. And some people, they have a different reaction to figuring out they're trans. Some people have a negative reaction, but in my case, it felt so electric when I could put that feeling that I've been trying to find for so long to a word. Like I could actually find a word connected to it. Because then when I have a word, then I can actually look it up and take the steps necessary to figure out how I can get to what I want to achieve, which is, in my case, wanting to have a deeper voice, just want to be more masculine. And yeah, so it was really nice seeing a community where there's people fully living their lives authentically like that. You know, they were still able to have friends or make new friends, make new communities. Like just because you decide to do something that can possibly ostracize you depending where you're living, you can still find community regardless, you know?
Yeah. Do you remember what year that was?
That had to have been 2015. I was in my senior year of high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was in my senior year of high school. I just moved to Miami because my parents would make better money living in Miami. So I decided to spend my senior year being there. And so I didn't know anybody at all. Everyone by the senior year, you know, they have their own established social groups. So it was a bit hard for me to make friends. And then I think the only person I could talk to was in my English class, my English teacher, specifically about my trans experience, because my classmate, who's also in that same class, was also wanting to explore being like a trans femme. So these were the only two people in real life that I could like actually talk to and relate to about wanting to transition and which therapist to go to. Because in Florida, I don't know if they changed it, but back then you would have to go to a therapist, and that therapist would have to diagnose you with gender dysphoria, and that's how you can start getting hormones. So that's the whole process.
I wonder if that's still a thing. You know, Florida is really weird.
Yeah, it is.
So
they got some funny laws over there.
Yeah, you know, English teachers are fucking awesome. First, let me say that, because I feel like you're not the first person who said that they can confide in their English teachers, or English teacher made it a way for them to kind of, I don't know, be who they are, or be, I don't know. It's something about English teachers. They just always kind of cool.
English subject. They're just, I don't know. It's not the first time. It is a trend for sure. And I don't know.
Big ups to English
awesome,
teachers. Though. Yeah. Big up to English professors, English teachers. I feel like they got a kind of grip on the world. Cause I even had an English professor in college. She was fucking awesome. Like she just understood things, like, right. Just understood life, you know. That's kind of cool. So from 2015, when you're kind of like on Tumblr, kind of figuring things out, looking stuff up, so you've been on HRT, for folks that don't know, hormone replacement therapy, for over 10 years now. So we're in 2026. So what was that difference between looking things up and saying, this may be who I want to, this is maybe the direction that I'm headed, or this better explains me, gives me the language to like, yo, I want to start HRT. What was that like switch for you?
That switch was, going back to Tumblr quickly again. There was a transmasculine user who actually uploaded a photo compared to how they looked when they were in high school to how they are now. They just finished doing their 10 years of HRT. They were so like, it looked such like a different person. I didn't even realize that hormones could do that at all. So when I saw that physical evidence, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going on HRT, because even if I don't get everyone's journey is different with how hormones reacts. Even if I don't get this super specific hyper masculine features that I'm looking for, honestly, my voice just cracks down a couple notes, that's fine with me. Like that's absolutely fine. And so I don't know, it's just, it's hard because you never know how you're going to end up looking. Like it really is a jump into an abyss that you have no idea what is going to happen. Right. Very so it is a very courageous move, but I just knew, like, it just was that same feeling with when I realized I was trans. Like there was just this magnetic pull for me wanting to do it. I just didn't feel afraid. Initially I was super scared of needles, but I was totally fine with having to deal with them if that was the only way I could access my hormones. You know? Same with like self-injecting, because that's a process that I do. But I had to, it was a psychological fight, you know, having to get myself to do it. But I was like, I want this so bad. Like I have to just get over it. You know?
I've been on HRT 13 years now. And so you kind of right about that. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to look like. You just don't know. Right. You're going into, it's pretty much going into puberty, but aware of puberty. When you 12 and 13, you don't know what the fuck is going on with your body. You just like, I'm this weird ass kid and a whole bunch of things is changing and growing and moving. I have no idea. But as an adult and then starting HRT, you can be like, I noticed this and this is different, right? You have an opportunity to kind of, I don't know, to kind of move with your growth, right? You just said that you just, even if your voice cracked, I want to say to you, because people tell me this all the time, that they're like, oh, Sean, your voice, you could be on like late night radio. You got the same kind of voice though. You could definitely do some smooth R&B.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, this is Joel Simu, production assistant for Dem Bois Podcast. Love visual storytelling? Then you'll want to check out our YouTube channel. We're bringing you exclusive interview shorts and taking you behind the scenes with content you won't find anywhere else. Find us on YouTube at Dem Bois Inc. or click the link in our show notes.
So I know that you kind of gave a hint around like your family dynamics and just kind of being kind of dysfunctional and isolating. And so how was that growing up? Knowing that, you know, your gender identity was different. And so, you know, how did that work in your household?
I'm mixed. I'm a Wasian, proud to be a Wasian, but I'm half Chinese and half American Irish. So my dad is the white side, my mom is the Asian side. It's been very interesting because they both grew up from conservative families. My dad, you know, being from Michigan, Midwest, and then my mom being from Beijing, China. But the way that she was raised was very strict. So kind of when I wanted, especially as a kid, I would express more in my tomboyish ways. My mom would be pretty disapproving of it. I actually think one of the, weirdly enough, the turning points of our relationship when it went really bad was when we were in Miami and I moved there for high school. And I decided to not want to wear a bra, and she was not having it. So that's kind of a bit of a little microscope into how my mom is in terms of appearing like feminine, all that kind of stuff. She was very strict to traditional standards with that. But it's interesting because my dad's a very laid back guy. So I have this very interesting dynamic with parents raising me. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you good. You say your mom was born in Beijing. So, and she was raised strict. Do you think, or even maybe no, that she was raised strictly because she was being socialized as a woman?
Oh, absolutely. She was also the eldest sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. So I get that. Okay. So now this whole bra thing, I was thinking about this. This is so funny that you mentioned this, because I was thinking about this the other day. Who the fuck says that people got to walk around in a bra? Like, when did this start? You know what I mean? Like, when was this a thing to where like it's required of you to do this?
Yeah. I don't really know, Sean. I don't know. Because from my experience, especially wearing wired bras, that stuff would dig on my underboob and it would hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And having to wear that, 8 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because I wake up at 5 in the morning to go to high school. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not a great time. I don't know. I noticed it a lot. I don't know. I'd actually, yeah, I'm not sure. When that whole ordeal happened, with me and my mom, it was just, I don't know.
What did she say to you? Do you remember what she said to you?
Whew. Well, I guess I don't know if there's like, I should say like a trigger warning. Like
Okay.
beforehand, be like,
Okay.
hey guys, yeah, it might be pretty upsetting, but basically like the explosion happened inside of a car while we were waiting in traffic.
Okay.
And I was already seeing a therapist to start my journey with getting my gender dysphoria certification. And then, but I don't know what led to it, like what specifically, what was said or what, but I opened up to my mom because she started mocking me about going to therapy.
Mm.
She was like, why do you need to go to therapy? Like, that's something that weak people do, you know?
Mm.
And so I started opening up to her, first time ever doing it, into the car. And I was like, I'm going to therapy mostly also because of you, because you make me feel so depressed
Oh, wow.
all the time. And, you know, it makes me want to commit, do not great things towards myself. And her reaction to that was to hit me in the chest and then be like, well, maybe you should. So it's a bit of a rough conversation in that moment, especially like I'm stuck in a car with her because we are in traffic, so I can't just hop out and leave because where am I going to go? So it wasn't until we literally had to just hold all this rage until we got to whatever her office. I left the car and I just immediately just walked away to the corner, did not want to confront, talk, or anything. Just called my dad and asked him if he could just pick me up instead. And I was like, hey, I got into a fight with mom. It really wasn't a good one. Would love if you came and picked me up.
Are you only child?
I am.
Okay. And so when you explained the situation to your dad, like what did he say?
So he doesn't know that. I actually never told him that.
Oh, so if he listens to this episode, this will be the first time that he hears this.
If he does, he's usually not that up to date on Instagram or anything like that. But there is a chance he could absolutely hear this. But this would be his first time. Yes, I like to keep the peace between the family because we're such a small family. So it's just experiencing that, despite how rightfully upset I could feel. I just feel like there's always a time and place and when to share that with the other parent. And yeah, I mean, I'll definitely open up to him about it. Definitely soon. But yeah.
Are they still together?
Not on paper. They actually divorced when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
And then they lived separately for 3 years. And then they moved back together when I was 6 because they didn't want me to grow up having to visit different households or something like that. I guess they were just concerned that I was going to grow up, I don't know, different if I had a non-traditional way of growing up with family. I don't know. But so they decided to live back together when I was 6 and have been doing that since. And now they live together in Michigan.
First of all, I want to say I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Nobody should have to go through that, especially in the hands of a parent. I'm also a parent. My son is now 29, and I couldn't imagine letting that out of my mouth to say to my child. It's horrible, right? It's just like you're telling it to me. It's something that you just never forget. And there's some things that my mom has said to me that no matter how many therapy sessions I've had, it's just some things that just I can't forget. So I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And I want to say that your mom said only weak people go to therapy. This is my own opinion. We all are weak. We're human beings. We're fragile as fuck. The mind is a fragile thing. We all go through so much trauma. The world is fucking hard. So ideally we all are a little bit weak and we all need a little bit of help. And there's no shame in that.
Yeah, I actually think vulnerability and crying every now and then is an awesome thing. I cry on a weekly basis, not even from being sad. just sometimes I just experience things to such an awesome extent. I'll cry about it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually, it was rough because when you're grown up in that strict of a household, especially with like emotions like that, or just no one talks about it, everyone just yells, or specifically because I'm an only child, I just felt more like an emotional punching bag. So it's hard to kind of deal with that for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one thing my mom always taught me was you gotta be careful what you say, even though my mom says to fuck them shit. But you gotta be careful what you say, because once you say it, is out there.
Yeah, they're giving you advice.
Right. It's like, lady, take your own goddamn advice. But I just wonder, right, does your mom ever sit with that? Is that something that, she sits with? Has she apologized?
So I never had a direct conversation about that event to her, but there had, like, definitely in the past, I would say 5 to 6 years now, our relationship has improved significantly.
Wow.
Which is a very rare, I feel like, opportunity that not many people get to experience, especially in the LGBT community. But yes, both my parents actually have a better relationship, because I didn't have the best relationship with both my parents, but slightly a little bit more better with my dad than my mom, type of thing. So, yeah. Well, there was an instance where, like, we were eating at Chinese back when I lived in San Francisco. My parents would visit me quite often, and so there was a situation where we were eating at a local Chinese restaurant, and I was just making some joke about, like, oh, hey mom, you're like let me scoot over a little bit more, like move your chair a little bit more or something. But I was telling her in a little taunting way, and she's like, oh, I am so sorry about that. And she sounded legitimate, like actually apologized. Like, she didn't realize that I was kidding, and so she, like, actually was apologizing for causing me frustration in some way. And so that was a very interesting shift. Like, that was the first time I noticed a shift with her, because I mean, I'm not with her anymore. I moved away from my parents when I was 19. I'm 29 now, so it's been a decade since I've been living away from them. I am their only child, so I'm sure in those moments where they're not interacting with me, it's just a lot of time. Hopefully, I'm hoping this time, I'm trying to think, that they have a lot of time to have to sit with our whole relationship, what led me to wanting to leave so early in my age. Yeah. And I also, when I first moved to San Francisco, I kind of was on a no contact with both mostly my mom. I would talk to my dad maybe once a month, maybe once every couple weeks, maybe at the most. And with my mom, it'd be maybe once every 3 to 5 months. So it was very, very short conversations and everything. I was very, I had to draw some really hard boundaries to kind of give myself agency again.
I love that. And I'm all about the boundaries, for sure. You got to protect your own peace. And that means setting up a hard boundary for your birth parents. Shit, fuck it. Let it, you know what I mean? So be it. Right? At the end of the day, we have to protect our own peace. Some people aren't meant to be with us on this journey, right? And so if you get your shit together and then you can join me a little bit later, then join me a little bit later. But until then, I need to heal from all the traumatic things you fucking did and said to me. And so I need a little bit of space. And I've done that too. I'm kind of in the same kind of predicament as you, actually. My mom has actually been, I don't know what the hell is going on with her, but she's actually been kind of coming around herself. And I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest with you. I don't know if she's ever heard Dem Bois Podcast before. I have no idea. I'm not going to even question it. I'm just going to lean into the fact that this woman is somebody that's totally different from what I remember when I was being raised. And so, and that's okay, because I don't mind leaving her behind, because I've done that before. But if you get your act together, and of course, I'm not going to let my guard all the way down, right? It's a little bit of guard there to make sure to protect myself. But what I'm trying to say is, if they want to be here, they'll be here. I just think that I would hope that my mom has time to reflect when I don't talk. I talk to my mom less than that, probably every 2-3 months, maybe 4, and it's like, I would hope that she's sitting in her room or at home and thinking about, damn, why my kids don't talk to me? You know what I mean? What did I do? And kind of reflecting and looking inward. And she may not say it out loud, but hopefully she's doing some internal work. Because
I like to think it also has to do with them having to face their own morality, where it's like they're not going to be around forever. Maybe not when they were first raising you, when they're more energetic, very capable of doing a lot more things, but it's just when you get to a certain age, you gotta like think about who's going to take care of you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think how my dad, he's in his 70s. So, and my mom's in her 60s. So they had me a little bit later usually than what most parents would have their kids. But yeah, so they're a bit older. And yeah, especially my dad, like he got into a car collision incident when he was on like his bicycle.
Ooh.
So he had to get like a whole blood transfusion surgery on his back and stuff. So he's definitely like limited in what he can do. But I definitely like every time I see him, I visit them twice a year. I can always tell like he talks so much about, he was like, you know, when I really always enjoyed our time together. Like he's just really open to talking more about emotions and being more vulnerable, which just usually wasn't the case. He's also like both my parents, I like to call them, they're both hotheads with a hair trigger. Especially when you know they're raising me, and so it's interesting to see him like they're just so much more calm now with how they handle their emotions. I don't know, it's very interesting. Like there's so much of myself that is still upset about things that happened, but it's also this weird thing where it's just like I can't change what happened in the past, and I just hope that they're different people now. And you know, yeah, like you mentioned, it's just like you still have your guard up. I also still have my guard up, but I'm absolutely willing to have a conversation if they're willing to have a conversation.
You know, as I'm listening to you, the other day I saw a video. So I'm gonna give you an explanation real quick, and then I'm gonna tie it back to the question I want to ask. So I saw a video the other day on Instagram. There was a guy there was an old man walking down the street. He had a diaper on and he was just walking aimlessly. I don't know if maybe you've seen this video. And so they were recording him, but he knew where he was going. He was headed to this house. And so they were like, okay, well, they knew he lived at this house a couple of houses down. So they was like, okay, let's walk you there. So they walked him there. This lady came out. She was pissed that he was even there. She didn't say, how did you get here? She didn't say, oh my God, you got a soiled diaper. Let me help you. She said, you need to walk back to where you fucking came from. And so she turned him around and he shuffled his little feet with his little house shoes on, just nothing but a diaper on. And so the guy who was recording was kind of pissed off. He was like, how dare you not help him, and you don't want to let him come in the house? And she was like, he knows what it is. He needs to go back to where he came from. So I thought about this. I sat with it for a couple of days, actually. And I was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up that she did that to him, right? What if that was her dad and blah, blah, blah. Then I thought about it and I'm like, well, actually, yes, it is fucked up because that's kind of elder abuse if you think of the law, depending on the state you live in. But I'm like, who knows what that man did to her? You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows the relationship that they had? And now that you're in a vulnerable position and you need my help, fuck you. So I just thought, you know, I had different like alternative stories to like this. But obviously, and she yelled back at the person recording. She was like, you don't even understand. Mind your business. And it just really stuck with me because I'm like, yes, it's sad that this man is shuffling in the street with a diaper on that's soiled, but it's like, what's the story behind this woman? And why is he even in the facility anyway that he's close enough that he can walk to the house? But he's not with you. And so I'm going to the question I want to ask you, right? I know the answer to this for myself, but for you, right? Your parents are older. Do you feel, and I don't want to say healed enough because we're never really healed, right? We're always constantly working. But do you feel like if your parents needed you to take care of them later in life that you could do that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I could definitely do that.
Okay. Well, I know that was a long story, but it's kind of like,
no, it's okay.
Yeah, like we don't know, like the you know, some folks that say, my mom treated me like shit. She going in a home, right? So you got to be really extra careful how you treat your kids. But to be honest, I'm gonna be real with you. I want to say that I could have that capacity to do that, but honestly, I don't think that I can.
That is okay. That's not, you know, that's your personal relationship with you and your mom. Only you and your mom know, like, to the extent of what happened and everything, you know, to come to that decision. I would definitely be, my mom, it's nice with my mom and dad being like, they're 10 years apart because my mom is helping taking care of my dad. He's still doing great. He, like, mobility wise is doing great, but it's nice because my mom, I just visited them last month. She was just saying, it's like, I'll take care of dad. you just keep working in LA, you're doing great, all that kind of stuff. And I really appreciate that. But also it's I think it has to do more with how I was raised by her. I was raised like it's very Chinese, or I guess very Asian, to have this obligation to take care of your parents when they're older. Like that's just kind of like imprinted in the culture. So like with my mom, like especially, I mean, it's because we're a small family and my parents are the only thing, that, especially I was a pretty lonely kid when I was younger. Like I was so attached to my parents as a kid that, yeah, I just would do anything for them, even despite everything that they've done. I still carried that respect for them as a parent to me. And yeah, and they've, from what I've noticed, they have changed pretty significantly the past few years that I've been visiting them. And it's been really nice. Like every time I visit them, it's always been a very, very good time. And yeah, it's a little bit of reverse parenting in a way too. I gotta see what kind of content they're consuming on their phones. I gotta double check, make sure you're not accidentally getting propagandized.
Now that's funny. Let me see your phone. Let me put a
let me look at your phone. But it's also funny. I just turned dark mode on for my mom so that she can see her phone better with the text.
Oh,
shows on.
Okay.
Yeah, she really appreciated that.
That's cool. I like that. So it just, I don't know. That's good that you were in a place where you like, you know what, I could do it. I don't know if I can. I want to say that because the person I am in the heart that I have, that I could, but I got a lot and I don't know. So I just don't know. I'm not an only child either, though. My mom has her favorite, which is my middle brother. And she doesn't deny it. So hopefully he's able to kind of like take care of her.
Hi there, I'm Mike, and I'm the creator of Trans Mess Stories. When I was at the start of my transition, I searched for uplifting stories of people who had questioned their gender identity, gone through their transition, and come out stronger. I needed direction and a light at the end of the tunnel. Trans Mess Stories is my way of paying it forward. It's the resource I wish I'd had. A space full of real, positive, and anonymous transition stories from transmasculine individuals, offering clarity and hope for anyone navigating their journey. If you're on the transmasculine spectrum, I'd love for you to share your story. And if you know someone who could use some direction, send them over to transmaskstories.com to explore dozens of transition stories. All right, that's all. Enjoy the show now. Cheers.
And you mentioned before, like moving from Florida to California, and we know Florida is kind of weird, right? And folks know that California is not, right? It's more liberal, and blue state. And so the access to healthcare, what was the difference between the two? Did you notice anything different when you came to California versus Florida?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. We'll talk about that.
With the difference in healthcare, definitely the price for sure. Florida health insurance does not cover trans folks. They do not consider trans folks or the hormones that they need as a necessity. So because of that, you have to pay out of pocket for every time you get your hormones. In my case, I would have to pay out of pocket for one vial, by the way, $300, around 300 maybe.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I wasn't expecting that. I need a minute. Hold on. Let me process that for a second. One vial, which you only use one time.
No, not one time, thankfully.
Okay.
It's usually those, yeah. No, it's not like the one-use vial. Sorry.
Okay.
I was a little dramatized there.
Right, I almost passed out. Okay, go ahead.
It would be a bigger vial. Specifically, the volume amount, I can't remember. But it's just really wild with how much I would pay for that, considering the volume I would get when I went to California. And that same, and I have insurance that covers it, pay out of pocket like not even $10. And it's the same volume, if not more. So that, yeah, Florida was so uninviting about, like, if I wasn't living with my parents at the time, so I didn't have to pay for rent, I would not be able to afford my transition at all. Like if I had to live in an apartment with someone else, had to split my rent, I don't know, even $600, I wouldn't be able to afford my transition because Miami only does $8 hour minimum wage.
Jeez.
When I was doing food service back then. So there was no way. But yeah, I go to California and I sign up for a clinic, they're just like, hey, just sign this paper so sign off, make sure any complications happen, it's not on us. And then they got me the hormones. I was able to get my hormones refilled and pick it up at my local pharmacy that same day. It's pretty crazy.
That is crazy. But you know what?
For $15.
Man. How many supply? How many weeks supply?
Ooh, I would say it was a nice solid couple months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get my vials. I get 12 weeks at a time, and it's only $30 for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Right. And I can't even imagine. Like, I think that's the point. That's the point. They don't want folks transitioning. They don't want folks on HRT. And so they're like, we're going to price you out. And so that you just say fucking and you don't want to do it. But the silly part about that is it still doesn't take away who you are. HRT does not change who you are physically, yes. But the way you feel about yourself on the inside, your gender identity, has nothing to do with HRT sometimes, right? It helps us to physically see what we feel on the inside, yes, right? But it doesn't determine, because there are trans identified folks that don't want to take HRT, right? And that doesn't change their journey at all. Also, what irritates me about Florida is HRT, sometimes older men need hormone replacement therapy. We're talking about cisgender men. So are cisgender men having to pay $300 for a valid, you know what I mean?
Probably not. Probably their insurance covers it too.
Yeah, that's wild to me. That's wild to me. So you got any advice for folks in Florida?
I love you guys so much. Even though I left, thank you for staying down there and still letting people know that we exist. Yeah, I think, specific advice for like trying to go through that wild system of healthcare. Just be patient. You have to be patient. That's just the system is so flawed, but with enough perseverance and patience, after I got diagnosed, for me to actually get the vial and get my first shot took about 6 months.
Oh,
So there was a huge gap just because there was such issues with going through the healthcare system and getting my schedules and all that kind. Because it was just a lot. But yeah, I love you guys. Stay strong, and I hope to visit Florida to sell my work there as an open trans person.
Nice. So, yeah, thanks for people that's sticking out there. Some people just don't want to leave. They love their home. So
yeah, and there is community. That's the thing about these red states. A lot of people think outside of it that there's not a lot of trans people that live there, but there's good communities all speckled out through all these conservative states. They're just not going to be, I don't know, in Miami that great. But there's like St. Petersburg. There's a lot of really good LGBT friendly cities out there. You just gotta look for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for folks that don't know, when you sign up to be a guest on Dem Bois Podcast, we have a guest form that folks fill out. And you say, hey, Sean, I would love to talk about this with folks. And so one of the things that you mentioned was about history and how, well, obviously they ain't teaching about trans history at school or in history books and none of that shit, right? Which they should.
Not in Florida.
Not in Florida, right? You know what? I was gonna say, you said not in Florida. This is just a little bit off topic, but I have a granddaughter. My granddaughter is 2, should be 3 in April of this year. I take her to the library. One of the books that she picked out at the library the last time we went was about trans women, which is wild, right? So you think about Florida not teaching about trans folks, but here it is. I can take my granddaughter to the children's section in the library in our city, and she picked out a book about trans women. Anyway, so their trans books exist. Trans history is real. We've been here. We've always been here. We're going to continue to be here. So I want to ask you, what was that realization to you? And you were like, whoa, shit, I didn't know this. Like that moment or that aha moment for you.
When I was in San Francisco, when you live there for over a year, you can apply to City College. And so you can get free college in San Francisco, which is awesome. So I did that. And I signed up for trans history classes because I saw that on the subject. And I was like, no way. And so, I signed up for it. And that whole semester was so eye-opening for me because when I first discovered I was trans, that was with the mindset that I thought trans was still a modern thing.
Mm.
Like we get the Stonewall riots, but that's still considered like modern time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had no idea that there was actual evidence of ancient civilizations that expressed gender fluidity through, whether it's through their gods, through their traditional wear, like what they wear for rituals or whatever. Like that blew my mind completely. And there was, there's no mention of that anywhere in Florida education. I talked to some friends who are from the Bay Area as well, like Berkeley and stuff, and they said that they were actually raised with trans history knowledge. So that was just so surprising to me because I just didn't know that.
Yeah.
Even when I was already trans, like already doing my transition, I still didn't know that until I took that class specifically. So that was so eye-opening for me. And it was funny because I feel like most of the classmates were also like Bay Area people. So they're probably used to already knowing that information. But here I am just like, oh my God, like guys, you have no idea. This is my first time knowing this. And so I was so motivated and doing all my assignments because we just would watch different documentaries about different civilizations, all that kind of stuff. It was a really fun subject to learn. I didn't realize I'd be so passionate about it until I was part of that class.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I was saying. Like living here, I've been here my life. So like it's always been something. It's normal to me, right? It's just even to say like, oh, my granddaughter didn't go pick out a book at the library. That is even readily available at the library, right? And so just to learn is just like, why do you think? Just your own opinion about it. Why is it not taught?
Well, I feel like it's mostly not taught because it goes against a lot of conservative values, especially the main traditional mindset of having a nuclear family and, having strict gender roles. But I feel like when being even just like queer, like that goes against all those constructs of that. And it's interesting that it's like kind of it's hard with the conversation because a lot of conservatives want to use the excuse of that it's harmful for kids. They always want to get kids involved in it. But I don't think there's anything bad at all. Like I think as a kid, I think it would have been awesome if I realized that there was so much more to gender fluidity than I realized just because I was someone who is born female but always exhibited like tomboyish aspects. Like I think that would have been awesome to see that, and I think I would have realized things a lot sooner if that were the case. It's if I could fix the world,
man. You know what's crazy about it? They're talking about that knowing about trans folks will damage children, but you allow kids to watch movies with murderers. And even Disney movies have villains and all this stuff. But just because you're watching a crime show don't make you a criminal. You're not going to grow up to be a criminal, right? We all have our journeys to take. And it doesn't matter. Certain things, yes. You may be influenced by certain things, right? But you are who you are. And it just helps to shape you. If you're not a trans-identified person when you're young, you're not going to grow up to be a trans-identified person. Maybe not, right? And you're just going to grow up to be who you were going to be regardless if you knew about it or not. But I believe that for having kids learn about it at a younger age builds tolerance and builds respect for folks that you may come across later in life who are trans-identified. That's why we got all these fucking assholes, because nobody taught people how to be fucking nice and kind to one another.
No, there's so much hate and ignorance because of that. Hiding that information. But what's been great about growing up in Florida with transitioning is I had to meet all kinds of different personalities because I used to work at the food service. I was very open with my coworkers about my transition, and some of them did not respond well at all. I had one that threatened to hurt me because I asked him if he could use he, him pronouns for me. And he's like, oh, well, if you want to be a man, then does that mean I can hit you like a man? Which crazy response, by the way.
Yeah, no, you can't hit me. We have fucking work. Then
Yeah,
that's not
what are you
work
talking
behavior.
about? We've never had any kind of beef at all. Like, so this was just so out of left field. With that saying,
That is so
um,
wild.
so it's just really weird. I just had to deal with all kinds of people. I feel like because of having, like, I can tell when someone is approaching me with malice,
Mm.
in regards to my identity, but I can also tell when someone is just asking out of like ignorance. Like I can tell the difference between someone being hateful and someone just saying something out of just not knowing.
And the curiosity.
Yeah, out of curiosity. And that's when I would be like, okay, well, if you're actually willing to want to have a discussion about it, I will talk to you without any judgment.
So you're
And
open to
usually-
answering any questions.
Exactly. And it's interesting enough, but I've had so many people like lower their guard because of that. And we'd actually have really great conversations, and they'd be from all kinds of backgrounds. Yeah.
That's what it takes. It takes curiosity, asking the right questions, and being open to the answers. Right? Like, we don't know everything. We're human beings, but it's impossible to know every single thing. Right? But you learn from others, and you borrow. You borrow, not take, excuse me. You borrow. We don't want no taking. That's a colonization. We don't want no fucking taking. You borrow, ask for my permission. And you know what I mean? That's how we learn about each other. Like, people are missing out on valuable human relationships just because of something that you don't understand, instead of asking the right questions. If you ask me the right questions, I'm gonna fucking tell you. And then we can get along. What did you say to the coworker who said he was gonna hit you? I'd have been like, I hit your ass back. What the fuck?
No, to be honest, I was so against confrontation at that time. I was like, I don't even know what I would say back to him that could de-escalate the situation. I think I was just like, okay. And I just turned around and walked away because that's the only thing I could react with.
Right. That's an HR issue. You can't be hitting people at work.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was no HR. It's a sushi restaurant in Miami. There's
oh, well, yeah, okay.
There's unfortunately not a full system like that going on. It's kind of
ideally that's not work behavior. When we think of adults and how we behave in the work environment, that's not one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about when you gave your message to folks in Florida, you said that you hope to take your art to Florida to sell.
Yes.
So you want to talk a little bit more about your art and kind of like how your gender identity ties into that?
Yeah, actually, well, my whole trans journey, realizing that I was trans, masc, and trans, and getting that magnetic connection to that definition. When I did that, both my parents, when they noticed that I was looking more masculine, were so apprehensive about it. I did tell my dad that I was going on hormones, and he did not like that. But going through that whole part of my life where people close to me were saying that I can't do this, and then ending up doing it successfully, like socially transitioning, getting to live the life that I want to do, that I had to apply that same mentality to my art. My parents were also not supportive of my art when I was younger. They just had no way of looking at it as a way to make income, because that's mostly what they're looking for, is if it makes you money or not. But what they didn't realize is that I was deeply involved in multiple art communities online because I was so heavily online when I was young. So I got such an early intro into it. I'm sure many artists will recognize this platform, but DeviantArt, that's one of the original like art platforms, which so many artists would just post their stuff. That's how you create communities. And I was in that a lot. I was involved in DeviantArt a lot, and Tumblr, same thing, has a huge art community as well. A lot of animators are on Tumblr. And when I moved to California has such a huge animation industry, has just in general, just huge art industry in general. So it was amazing to see. I got the opportunity to be friends with many people who are very successful at what they do with their art. And I got a lot of behind the scenes in helping them with in-person shows. And I kind of took all this knowledge from that. And when I felt the courage to, when I just got tired of working for other people, I was like, you know what? I got all the information I need. I'm just going to run my stuff full time. But I've been doing e-commerce. I've been selling my art online for 10 years.
Nice.
So I've been doing that for a while. Yeah.
Nice. So for folks that are listening and they want to check out your art, they want to support you, they want to buy something from you, how can they do that?
They can go on my website. It's catdad.online, or I'm also on Instagram, catdadshop.
Nice. So what is the art items that you sell? Want to give people a little bit more description of it?
Oh, yeah. Well, my art style is very sketchy, very doodly, has a lot of textures to it. And I also make a lot of cats. I'm a cat dad of 4 right now, actually. Okay. Just added a new member to the family.
Oh, beautiful.
But I love drawing cats. I love just making funny, effortless looking doodles, energizing, a lot of color. And I put that into all kinds of different merchandise. I do apparel, where I do the heat press myself. I make keychains. I've done originally designed plushies. I make stickers. I make prints. And yeah, it's just a full array of merchandise going on. I've successfully become now a businessman with my art. Nice. I gotta spread that out, in different variations. But
nice.
Yeah, now I've been 3 years now full time, and I've been traveling domestically throughout the entire United States, and it's been a really awesome journey having to meet people in person. A lot of people, when I do these events, they follow me from Tumblr like 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just in Seattle. Multiple people came from me and they're like, hey, I followed you since Tumblr. So as soon as someone says that, I'm like, oh, you've been following me for over 10 years.
Nice.
That's really nuts. So it was really fun to just meet people in person. To be like, awesome. Hey, like, I really like what you're doing. Like, keep on doing what you're doing. It's really awesome. And yeah, this is probably like the best job ever.
Yeah, that's so amazing. You know what? And so you have 4 cats, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story because I'm not really a cat person. I used to have a cat, but I was scared as fuck of him. He was unpredictable. I was scared. So
was he a little vicious?
Yeah, he was. He just, I don't know. Maybe it was an inbred thing going on. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I got adopted him from the shelter. He was nuts. Anyway, I just learned about a cat breed last night when I was talking to one of my coworkers at my full-time job. And I was like, yo, this cat makes me want a cat. Have you ever heard of a Maine Coon?
Maine Coons? Yeah, those are the big cats.
Yes. I was like, yo, I want one of these. I think I now want a cat. I want a Maine Coon. Like that, it just fits me. That personality. I mean, it's just this big ass.
They can
cat.
grow big.
I've seen.
Would you be able to handle that size?
I guess I've had dogs. I guess.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, if you have a dog, then yeah, definitely.
Well, my dog is small though, so I have a little Shih Tzu. That don't count. He's only 14 pounds. That don't count. But they can get up to like 50 or 60 pounds.
Yeah, they're big.
That's so awesome. Like, I'm serious.
I love cats.
Yeah. Do you adopt them or?
Oh yeah, they're all, well, 3 of them are adopted. One of them I just took off from the front of my apartment because she was right in front of it. My first cat, his name's Bao. I've had him for 8 years. He's turning 8 this year. Oh, nice. So he's getting into senior cat mode. So he's going to be a bit of an old boy. Funny enough for him though, he has a condition called pica. And what pica is when you have like a craving for a material that doesn't give you any sustenance. So it's like, was it TLC? They have that show where My Strange Addictions, and you'll have those sections, like those segments of people eating couches, eating walls and stuff. That's a form of pica. So humans can have it too.
Oh.
But his pica is cotton. And you'd be so surprised on how much cotton is located in a modern day apartment. Because he loves going specifically sewn corners. So like the towel or just anything that has like a corner with like a specific stitching to it or like a padding of cotton, he just immediately has to put it in his mouth and eat it. And then I have to take him to the hospital and has to get surgery.
So he costs you a lot of money because he's expensive because he always got to go to the vet.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you want me to drop figures, I can do that.
Yo, how much money have you spent on this damn cat eating stuff?
So this is including his health insurance, which covers 80% of the costs.
Okay.
I think I would have spent over $30,000.
Oh, he getting evicted. He got to get out. You gotta go find somewhere else to go. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's love. That's love. I was
That-
willing to go. I was so willing to go to financial ruin for him.
was-
The biggest cost, though, of what really added. Well, here's the problem: is that every time I pay off the full, because I do it off a care credit, so
Okay.
I had to get like a little bit of debt. After I would pay off, he would do something again and add and continue adding debt. So despite me
Yo.
paying it off really well, it was still adding onto it.
Yo.
Knock on wood, it's been 2 years since his last incident, which is very great.
Okay.
That's fantastic. But the worst incident he's had was he was supposed to be my housemate was supposed to watch him over at the time. And I was like, hey, supervise him because he will go somewhere and he will eat something he's not supposed to.
Mhm.
She didn't do that. So he ended up going into the bathroom and he ate a tampon.
Ah,
And in tampons, it soaks up
yeah.
inside. So it was getting big in there.
Oh,
So I took him
man.
to an emergency vet. And he had to be hospitalized for 2 weeks straight. And those bills racked up.
Yo. Okay, so first let's clear this up. Was it a used tampon?
Yeah. Isn't that nasty?
As fuck.
I was really, really pissed off.
Oh,
I still kept my composure somehow.
That friend can't watch
but-
the cats no more. That friend is fired.
It was my housemate, so I still had to live with them. But yeah.
Oh, and that's like giving a
Yeah,
different
no.
definition of eating you out of house and home. Like literally.
It was funny because they showed me the x-ray. You can see like the tampon in there. But
That
the
is so
vet was like,
funny.
I've never seen an animal fully eat a tampon. This is my first time experiencing this.
The string and everything.
Yeah, string and
Oh,
everything.
Goodness.
And they specifically handle emergency vet visits. So
That's even worse. That's more expensive. Yo.
it is.
Okay, never mind. I don't want a
So-
cat. I lied.
Just to do like a trial period, make sure it's doesn't have pica.
Jeez. Well, you don't know if you get a kitten, though.
That's true. And that's what happened to me.
Jeez. More power to you. So
Been 2 years though since the last incident. It's
okay.
2 years.
So let's hope while we're talking and having this conversation, your cat's not
Yeah.
eating some shit right now.
No, I have that room like cat proofed for him. I know exactly what I need to tuck under. It's like automatic motor skills at this point. It's part of my schedule.
Wow, that is. I didn't know that animals get that. That is wild. You helped change my mind. Thank you. I do not want a Maine Coon. I'll stick to my elder dog. He's a Shih Tzu and he's 17, so I'll stick to him.
And he doesn't have pica.
No, he does not. But he's an old man now. So 17 is pretty old for a dog. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an old guy.
Yeah. 2026 marks 10 years of Dem Bois Inc. That's 10 years of community care, 10 years of leadership rooted in love, and 10 years of turning visibility into possibility. And so to honor this milestone, we've launched our 10 for 10 campaign. You're like, Sean, 10 for 10, what's that? So we are inviting you, our listeners, our supporters, our allies, and other folks in the community to give $10 a month to help sustain the care, leadership, and visibility that trans men of color deserve. And so 10 years is a very long time, right? That's a decade. Can you imagine raising a child for birth and then looking at them at their 10th birthday party and being like, wow, you've watched so much of their growth within that 10 years, right? That's the same for us. And so Dem Bois Inc., over the 10 years, we have done a lot. And so we have provided gender affirming surgery grants to trans men of color to obtain gender affirming surgeries. We started this podcast. We are now in season 4 of the podcast in 2026. We created our Visibility Equals Possibility merch. We partnered with Emilio and Zion, both trans men of color, to design what visibility equals possibility means to them. And it's reflected in our merch. We also partnered with the Black trans man, Mola Flow, to create our theme song. And that's the music that you hear every time you tune into Dem Bois Podcast. We've done merch. We've done partnering. We have delivered care packages to trans men of color in need of personal hygiene items within our community. We have done a lot in 10 years. And so imagine what the next 10 years would look like. Donating $10 a month says, I believe in this work. I believe in the future of trans men of color, and I believe in what comes next. And so if this call resonates with you, join us today. And we've even made it easy. You don't even got to go anywhere. Whatever platform you're listening to this episode, go ahead and open up the show notes. And from there, you will be able to click the link to start your contribution to our 10 for 10 campaign. Your monthly support helps ensure Dem Bois can continue showing up for our community with intention, care, and impact. So thank you for listening, and thank you for believing in our mission. Okay, and I'm going to get out of here so you can listen to this episode. Take care. So Wen, this is the part of the show where I love to ask my guests a random ass question. I got a list of questions. Now my list is at 85 questions. I'm not going to ask you all of them. I want you to pick a number between 1 and 85, and I'll ask you that question.
I'm going to choose 28.
Number 28.
I like even numbers.
Whoa, me too.
They just feel better for my brain.
Yes, me too. Like I don't even want nothing uneven on my plate. So if I'm getting wings, it has to be even amount of number. If I'm getting meatballs, It has to be even. Yes. See, I like you. Perfect.
We got a lot more in common, you and I.
Right. Number 28 says, who is your favorite hip hop artist?
Ooh, my favorite. Ooh, I guess it depends what's categorized as hip hop.
Subjective.
Subjective.
This is your question for you.
Hip hop. I'm trying to think. I haven't listened to hip hop in a while. I've been listening to a lot of R&B, especially Korean R&B.
Okay.
But that's different.
Okay.
Would it be okay if I answered? Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
Yes. Who is your favorite Korean R&B artist?
Korean R&B. I love Dean. Spelled as Dean. It's just Dean. I love him because he's a very introverted musician. I'm very attracted to introverted musicians. He used to write a lot of songs for other big artists before he debuted. And yeah, he just makes, he used to start with R&B, but now he just does super experimental stuff. And I just think it's really cool seeing an artist like not be constricted to certain like genres. And they're just like, I'm just going to do whatever. I'm just going to make weird stuff if I want to, weird visuals. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to make sure for folks that's listening, I'm going to put that a link to Dean's music in the show notes so folks can kind of check that out.
Yeah, Dean's awesome.
I love that. Thank you. So Wen, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Do you have any last words that you want to say to folks that are listening?
I just want to say if you're going through a tough period right now, especially with your transition with family, especially if you're like early transitioning, or even if you're not, even if you're been on it for a while and you're just going through a tough period, like I just want, especially people in the trans community, to just hang on there. I refuse personally for me to be a statistic when it comes to the really terrible suicide rates that our community experiences. Staying alive, finding joy even through the chaos. Like I think it's incredibly important, especially now with what we're dealing with this current administration. I just want everyone to hang in there. We got community, be able to talk to each other and just hang on and try our best to take care of each other.
Them boys,